Hello class, this is Dr. Tina Cannon. I was just going to create this video to help you out this week. This week you are going to be working on worksheet 2, and in the worksheet you're going to be working with evaluating equations and expressions. And in statistics in 1530 this week you've probably discussed the mean. You'll be talking about standard deviation, and there's some other formulas that you'll be working with. So what I want to do is go over the order of operations that you'll be needing to work your formulas. Also, I'll be discussing the calculator that you'll need how to use it. So first of all, you will be going into your course content. So let me get this open. And mine looks a little different from yours, but we're now in week 3, so you'll click unit 1, week 1 through 3. We're in week 3, and this week you have some things that are due. One of the things that you'll need to have is you'll need to finish up your worksheet, and that's what we're going over for this week. And you'll drop that into the Dropbox assignment. And then also you should have your final attempt on quiz 1 completed in eLearn, and you need to have at least a 70% on that quiz. Once you take the quiz, notify me by email and I'll go in and grade the problems that you miss. So what I want to do is look at this worksheet, and that's the one that I have pulled up. But if you click on worksheet, you're going to see up here at the top, this is the one that you're going to download and work and then upload back in the Dropbox. Also, let me pull up my calculator. You should have the TI 83 or 84 calculator, and I'm going to show you how to do some things with this. Let me hit the clear button here. Okay, so first of all, on the worksheet, you're going to see that there's an example for you to follow through. And before we do this, we're dealing with the order of operations. Parentheses goes first. And when I say parentheses, I mean grouping symbols. And then you have exponents, multiplication and division are on equal basis. Then you have addition and subtraction. And one way to remember this is a little sentence: please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please, the P starts for the parentheses. Then excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the excuse is the E, the exponents, my would be the M, multiplication, dear would be the D for division, Aunt A for addition, and finally S, Sally, S. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is the order of operations to work problems. Now notice they give you an expression here that says 9 plus parenthesis 12 divided by 6 plus 7, and then it has minus 3 squared. Well, our order of operations tells us to use the exponents first. The parentheses first. So I'm going inside of this and I'm going to work that first. So if you notice, I did 12 divided by 6. That's where this comes from. Notice the 9 comes down. 12 divided by 6 will be the 2 because we're doing the division before the addition. And then we bring down the 7. Then we'll go ahead and work that. So we'll have 7 plus 2. And notice that'll be your 9. And then we now have to work this part. So you're working it as you go along. And this is what you're going to be showing on your paper. Now exponents, if you have 3 squared, that means 3 times 3, which evaluated is a 9. And we've talked about that as we've gone along. And you've been doing that in your Ed Ready. And also on the last handout, we've talked about exponents. So notice we bring down the 9, bring down the 9, and now we have 3 squared, which is 9. And then now we can finish working this out. 9 plus 9 is 18, minus 9, you finally get a 9. So that's your final answer. Now, what I want to do is show you how that's what happens is on the TI 84 or 83, you're able to type in exactly what you see as your problem, and we're going to use this to check. And also in statistics, remember you'll be working with some formulas, and so this will help you out on doing the formulas. So I want to go to this calculator and show you what we're doing. Now our problem, let me pull this over where we'll have this beside our calculator and I can show you both at the same time. Okay, here's my equation or expression that I have here. I'm going to come to my calculator. I'm actually going to type that in. Let me move this up some where we can see all of it. So we're going to do 9, and I'm trying to do this while I hold the video, so try this, parenthesis, and then we have 12 divided is over here, and then we have 6 plus 7, and then it's close parenthesis, minus 3. Now the exponents you can do two ways. They have a square right here, or you can use this symbol and 2, whichever one you want to do, it doesn't matter. And then we have 2. So notice this should match. Let's make sure. They should match exactly, and that's the thing. Now notice that divide is the same thing as a fraction bar. So now I can check my answer and see if I got the right answer, push enter, and notice there's the 9 I came up with. So that's our example. Now what's going to happen is there's my little notation that you can use to remember your order of operations. I've given you one to work out by hand, not with just the calculator. At the end you can use the calculator to check your answer, but I want to see step by step in this problem. I want you to work it out. If you need some more room, then you're welcome to, you know, right under here and then move over and continue on. So but that's the first problem that I need to see. Okay, next it says we're going to be using the calculator. So let me get my paper over here. Okay, so now it says how you type an expression into your calculator will determine the order that the calculator works the problem. So for instance, it gives you this. Notice this is called a rational expression. It's a fraction. And if you type this in, doing just, if you type in 4 plus 9 times 2 divided by 14 divided by 7 times 11, it's not going to work out the right way, because what it would do is do 2 divided by 14. What happens is we need to do something special. Let me mark this right quick. We're going to put a parenthesis in the numerator and a parenthesis in the denominator. And now you could actually type this into the calculator as long as you use your parentheses. And so you see below now, that's how we'll type this into the calculator, and you should get an answer. The radicals, or the square roots, are also anything under a square root. That part needs to be worked first. Now you had that on the last handout that I gave you. Some of you missed one of the last problems because you were just, I don't know if you were doing square root, parenthesis 9 minus 5 squared. What happens is, if you're going to type this into the calculator, you would actually have to put a parenthesis. Let me fix it where I can show you how you would have to do this. If you're just going to type it in, you would have to put a parenthesis around the entire thing if you're just going to type the whole thing into the calculator. Now the easiest thing to do is go ahead and just type in parenthesis 9 minus 5 squared, blah blah blah. Leave the square root off, work that part first, and then take the square root. So the way you type things in the calculator makes a difference. Notice the next step I show you, that if you'll type the part, this is called the radicand. The radicand is the part under the square root. You get a 52, and then you can take the square root, and then it'll tell you your answer, your solution. So what happens is you're going to have some formulas here. Now, this week in statistics, you've been doing, or either last week, one of the two, you've been working with the mean formula. And the mean says, let me write this down, you would have x bar equals the summation of x divided by n. This is the formula. X bar equals the summation of x divided by n. That's what this formula is telling us to do. It says evaluate the sample mean. Here's your data. They want you to take this and find the mean. And it's saying take value 1, 2, 3, all the way up to the end. That's what that little n represents. It means just add them all up. It's the summation symbol. And then divide by how many you have. So you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So divide by 6. So you will write this on your paper. You'll write in all your values. Then you'll add those up. You'll put down here how many values you have and divide. So you'll be working that problem in your notes. Okay, the next one. The next problem is something that you're probably working with this week too in statistics. This is called the variance formula. So S equals the square root of the summation of x minus x bar squared all over n minus 1. Okay, so this is called the standard deviation formula. The standard deviation equals the square root of the summation of x minus the mean squared all over n minus 1. The part under the square root is called the variance. That's this part. And what they're going to ask you to do is find the mean like you did in part A. You're going to use that. Notice it said round to the nearest tenth. Then you're going to come and plug that in everywhere you have x bar. Okay? And then each point, each value you have, you're going to plug into the parentheses. So for instance, starting off, I would have 4 minus whatever the mean is, and write it in those parentheses and have square, plus then I would come and do 3 minus whatever you come up with for the mean, and you continue on all over n minus 1. You're going to work the numerator, the top part, and then the denominator. Now, once you do that, the s squared part, the variance, you're going to take the square root of that value that you got in part B, and that will be your standard deviation. Also, they're going to give you another formula. It's called the z-score formula. They're going to give you some values to plug in. They're going to give you a value minus the mean over the standard deviation. They want you to plug those numbers in and work that, so you can do that for part D. And then they're going to give you another formula here. This is called the margin of error. Now these formulas right now, you do not have to know what they're used for. All you're doing right now is learning how to evaluate. So this little symbol, z alpha divided by 2, all it's telling you is that value is 1.645. You're going to take that number and mark out this and write 1.645 square root of p hat, which is this number, parenthesis 1 minus p hat, which is that number, close parenthesis, all over n, which is 89. And then you're going to work the part under the square root, and then you're going to take the square root and finish. You can use your calculator, but write down every single thing exactly as you see it and plug it in your calculator. So this section is just using some formulas. Here's another formula that we'll be using later on. This is called the sample size formula. They give you the values. Here's your values. You're going to plug it into the formula. Now, don't let this z alpha divided by 2 throw you off. Just mark that out and put in 1.96. For p hat, put in 0.73, and then for the margin of error, put 0.08. You want to work this part in the square that's being inside the parentheses first, and then square it, and then when you got parentheses, that means multiplication. So you're taking p hat times with a parenthesis 1 minus p hat close parenthesis, and then you do parenthesis whatever z is over e, close it up, square it, and hit enter. So you want to learn to use your calculator to do this stuff, and that's what this section's all about. Every one of these formulas you're going to be using in 1530 in statistics. We're just trying to get you to learn how to write it down and to use your calculator. Here's something else. Sample size. Notice this. Always round your answer up. You will not use your regular rounding rule of 5 or higher because you're doing a sample. So for instance, if I come out with 15.4, I'm going to round up to 16. Or if I come up with 15.2, I'm still going to go up to 16. Okay, in sample size only, and that's what this is for. So have a good day, and I hope this video helps some. Let me know if you have any questions.